Okay, now we're going to take one step back and look at longer time frame as the background for where we are in our current market situation. And this is something that is always good to do. We always can benefit if we have a big picture, if we're understanding cycle, support, resistance, trends, all the different variables that go into what make a market move on a larger scale of magnitude. And there will be many times when this can be very valuable to really have the confidence to come in and participate at a low, for example, of some correction, or when a market's rotating, to have confidence to buy at the favorable value, to sell at the overextended highs. All of the things that we can learn from market profile help us for these very high reward to risk ratio trades. And this is a special benefit of gaining familiarity, understanding, and practical ability with market profile structure for taking all of our trades intraday on whatever time frame we're trading. So the RT Investor allows you to construct profiles anywhere you want for any number of bars, and I find it very useful. I just look at what I think is maybe a swing from a significant low to a significant high, put a profile on it, and it really gives you a very precise understanding of where you can expect the market to react in the future. If you get a feeling maybe you're in a sideways correction here, which certainly would have been the right deduction if you figured that out, you're going to have a very good idea of where support is. You had a value area high from this first 6 weeks of the rally off the big low down here at 660 area, and it was almost to the tick the low of this extended 5-week sell-off we had here end of June, beginning of July. And that was the launch pad when they made a double bottom right on that value area low of this sideways correction. And it also it gives you a place here where you've got pretty good value established there. The market couldn't get up through it, and so when it broke down a little bit, it came right up into the value area high on its retest, and that would have been a great place. Even intraday, obviously, you could have really benefited from that, knowing that you had longer term resistance there. Also, just technically, you had some highs here that corresponded. And again, down here, these lows are important, and you got nothing but long tails down there on the low. So as we had our big move up here, let's zero in on it a little bit. So this brings us up to where we are today on the 6th of August. We just finished Thursday trading, and we now have a means to evaluate if we are going to finally have a little bit of a pullback after this phenomenal straight up run here. I'm not predicting anything. I never predict. I'm an intraday trader, and I'm an active trader. I like to trade very short term on very high probabilities. But even for a scalper, knowing what the daily is doing could be very valuable as you go into the next day's trading, and also knowing where to look for support if the market does eventually sell off here. We have a real good idea. There's some very key levels. This value area high that was the high of a rotation for several weeks, almost a couple months, is very close to this point of control of the whole run up here, the first swing, which didn't have much of a pullback, but it did have a pullback a couple of days. So most of the volume was between 964 and 893, and 948.75 is what they call a naked point of control. And you have another naked point of control down here, by the way, at 912.75. We might see that tested someday. Again, I'm not predicting when, but if the market gets there and it's intraday, and I see it coming down to that level, I know that's a strong area of support that is not likely to just blow through. And this one should be pretty good too. Any of these. So we have a little bit of value area from the past 6 days, right here at 978.50, and then this one is really covering a longer time frame. It's just above these highs here at the 964 and the 948.75. So the market profile is really valuable for this kind of evaluation of where we want to look for our trades intraday. And we're doing this on the 30-minute, the 15-minute, the 60-minute, even the 5-minute. All the different time frames can give you levels for your trading on whatever time frame you're trading. And the same thing applies with looking at our delta or our volume on whatever the market's doing. And what you can see here is on this last run up, the delta was shifting to negative here, and so people aren't so aggressive buying new highs. They are still buying on the dips. It's amazing every day intraday. You see them buy no matter what happens. That's why you're not seeing the bars take out lows, and if they do, they don't take them out by much. But made a slightly lower low yesterday, a slightly lower low today. But the same great indication comes when we see the delta's negative on a new high, even though it only made a new high by a few ticks. Remember, we're on a daily scale now. We can expect this to sell off the next day, and that's very valuable information intraday. When it opened here and ran straight up right off at the very start of the day, you had something that should give you a lot of confidence to fade that rally, even though it's an up market. So we're using market profile. It gives us a lot of inside information that most traders don't have, that are never going to fade that first rally on a day like today. But when you see more sellers, stronger selling always on the whole day yesterday, they were willing to hit the bid a lot more than they were willing to accept the offer all throughout the day, because that's what the daily delta is telling us then. This was a great day to sell intraday. Now let's go and look at some intermediate time frame and put the same knowledge to use. What we have on this chart is 135-minute segments of the day, and I'm just looking at the day session, 8:30 Central to 3:15 Central. When you're hearing me on these videos, if I don't say the time zone, it's always Central. I'm in the Central. That's right where the CME is. Okay, so this is the same period of trading from the 23rd onwards on 135-minute bars, which break down to just almost exactly 3 segments of the day in the 405 minutes of that day session. Now, it's very interesting to look at volume on this scale. This is where it peaked out around July 30th. Actually, it's been dropping. The 22nd, it was more volume, and it's been lower ever since. And you can see the great strength by just looking at these moving averages here. It never was able to even get down to what we have here on a 13 period until really yesterday, and then today it finally broke through for the first time, and the shorter period crossed under the 13. So looking at volume on this bar, which is an outside reversal bar, the first third of today's trading, you had the most volume, and you had again negative delta. So now buying is being overwhelmed by the sellers, and the signs were there. Same thing yesterday. The first whole 135 minutes, first third of the day, was more aggressive selling than buying. And as you look at the volume, the delta on lifting the offer has been diminished for the entire period of this breakout. So this whole breakout, although it was decent volume on the first third of the day of the breakout, it immediately got negative by the end of the day, and ever since, the number of buyers during the day has actually not been as enthusiastic as the occasions when the sellers outnumbered the buyers, and the magnitude of the negative delta was greater than any of the positive delta for this period from the 30th onward. So the market is showing signs of fatigue here. Again, I don't predict anything, and I don't know what it means, except that don't be as afraid to sell maybe a little bit intraday right now. We're going to break to the next video.